Hello, are you here to debate? Hello? Hello?
Hey, what's up?
What's up? You here
You
to
hear me?
debate?
What's going on?
Are you here to debate?
I'm here to debate.
Okay, what's your name,
Let's
age, and
debate
pronouns?
let's debate this systemic racism, white privilege.
Okay, what's your
I
name,
want to
age, and
debate
pronouns?
that with you. My name's Lee.
Lee, your age,
34.
your pronouns.
Next question.
Okay, I'll ask a different question. What pronouns do you
Sure.
prefer to be called by?
You know, the regular ones before we had to declare pronouns.
I don't know if you know this, but pronouns haven't changed in like 100 years. So which ones do you prefer to go by?
Your Royal Highness.
Okay, you go by neo pronouns? That's very
Yeah,
progressive of you.
Absolutely. I'm very progressive when it comes to my pronouns.
Okay. So I am going to assume this is going to be a bad faith conversation because you are unable
you can
to.
rage quit if you want. Yeah.
I'm not rage quitting. I'm just calling from right now that this is probably going to end up being a bad faith conversation.
I don't think so. I think you hear my ideas, maybe you'll learn something. Maybe I'll learn something from you.
You were unable to answer a question at the start, so we'll find out. What did you want to talk about that has to do with systemic racism and white privilege?
Basically, it's like bullshit. It doesn't exist at all. And if anything, it's actually the opposite. Like blacks have privileges. They have all black scholarships, grants, affirmative action, DEI.
Okay.
It's the exact opposite of white privilege.
Can you define systemic racism and can you define white privilege for me in a functional way?
No, because it doesn't exist.
Okay. So we can't define things that don't exist? If I asked you to define unicorn, could you do that?
If you think it's a thing, why don't you define it?
Wait, just really quickly.
You think it's a thing?
Just really quickly.
Let's go by your
you
definition.
admit to me that we could define it. So remember when I said, will this argument be bad faith?
All day. I mean,
or when I said this argument was going to be bad faith, you've already shown that. Sure, I will use the definitions since I guess you don't know them but disagree with the terms. Systemic racism would be a system in which one racial group oppresses another racial group for political, social, or economic gain. White privilege would be the concept that white people are not going to experience racial disparities in the United States in the same way that other racial groups will. So they would have a level of privilege by not having to experience those racial disparities.
Okay.
Do you disagree with either of those definitions?
That even happens.
You disagree that racial disparities happen?
I mean, there's racial disparities, but it's not a system. It's different races doing different things, acting differently.
So racial disparities do exist.
Yeah, absolutely. Like there's more black people in jail because they do more crimes.
Black people do more crime.
It's a disparity, but it's not white people's fault.
You believe black people do more crime?
Per capita, absolutely, and especially violent crime.
Okay.
For sure.
Per capita, black people do more crimes, and that's why black people are in prison more.
Correct.
Okay.
This is basic.
What percentage of people commit drug-related offenses?
What percentage of people?
Yes,
I'm not sure, but I know you're going to pivot to like, white people smoke more weed, but black people are locked up more. Yeah, because they do more crime. I asked you a
very simple question. What percentage of people
I don't know. You tell me, dude. You have it in front of you.
So you don't know. Great. So when it comes to drug-related offenses, so this is going to be any offense that has to do with drug abuse, white people commit 71% of that. Black people commit 26% of that. How many white people are in prison on drug-related charges?
So just to be clear, black people are represented double their actual percentage in the population per capita. So they they do
Great.
more drug crimes
What
per capita
percentage
at twice the rate.
what percentage of black people are in prison on drug related offenses?
No idea. Probably a lot,
60%.
because they don't just do drug related stuff. They
we are only
assault
looking
people.
okay,
they rob people.
okay, so this is
Drug
going to
thing,
be
and
where you don't
yeah.
understand how statistics work. We are only looking at
No, not
people
at all.
in
You
prison
just
for
like to overlook statistics.
we are
You
only
you like to
looking
like look past it.
we are so I'm just going to keep talking. We are only looking at people in prison on specifically drug related charges. Specifically.
Yes.
So
Yes.
when it
You
comes
want to
to
narrow that down and say like we just throw black people in prison for no reason because
you
they
don't know
do
what I'm
drugs?
going to
But
say
that's just
because
not the
you're not
case.
listening.
It's usually pled down from like a
I don't know how
robbery
you
or
know what
something
I'm
like
going to
that.
say when you aren't listening to the words coming out of my mouth. Remember when I said
I
this
know where you're
conversation
going
was going to be
with
bad
this.
faith?
I've heard it before.
I don't think you do know where I'm going.
I
don't think you do.
absolutely do. I know every one of your arguments.
Sure.
That's going to come my
You
way.
tell me why white people are underrepresented in the prison population for drug offenses when they commit the vast majority of drug offenses. What would be the reason for this?
There could be a multitude of reasons. I'd say it's probably first-time offenders. There's probably they don't do other crimes like robbery, weapons possession, illegal weapons possession. I mean, there's a whole myriad of ways. Just a drug charge isn't going to land you in prison
And
unless you have something like a lot.
Lee, explain to me how, when we account for those variables, how white people are still underrepresented in the prison population when those variables are accounted for.
Also, there's another reason, because black people also get arrested more because there's more police to catch them.
Remember,
white
people are arrested at
more police.
Wait.
Yes.
When it comes to drug violations, white people are arrested more. 71%. They commit 71% of the arrestable drug offenses. So that can't be the case. They're actually getting arrested more. Yet when it comes to their prison sentences, they only make up 20% of the.
Obviously. I know you want to skirt past per capita because that
So
destroys
nobody's
your
skirting
entire
past per
worldview,
capita,
but that's just
because we're looking at the discrepancy between the per capita statistics in arrests and the per capita statistics in prison population. I don't know if you know what the word discrepancy means. It might be too big for you.
It's absolutely not. I know. Probably.
So why is there a discrepancy?
Discrepancy. That's a huge word.
So why is there a
not
discrepancy between the arrested population and the in prison population when all of those other variables are accounted for?
Because white people are more likely to have a job. White people are more likely to know people who actually care about them to actually pay for a lawyer. I mean, there's so many reasons that
so you're saying it's about money.
It's racist.
So you're saying it's about money. White people tend to have more money, so they're able to have more. Okay, great. Now let's look at the wealth statistics. Why is it that white familial wealth, the mean familial wealth in white households, is $200,000, where it's $12,000 in black households?
Because white people value education, and they go to school, they get degrees.
Value education.
And black people, it's just not a part of their culture. It's not a thing. You get made fun of. It's like more
stupid things coming out of Lee's mouth. Okay.
Like
so let's analyze this, Lee.
Sure.
What is the biggest contributor to school budgets?
Property tax.
Great. And property taxes are higher when you have a higher what?
Have a higher income? The area's nicer? Yeah,
Wealth.
Of course.
Wealth, Lee. Wealth leads to higher
There
property
you go.
values. So
Sure.
when we look at disparities in education, okay, and we see that black students have disparities in their education, we also notice that they go to traditionally underfunded schools that are not funded because they don't have the familial wealth to afford property with high property taxes.
Okay, and whose fault is that? Get some familiar wealth, dude.
Okay, whose fault is that? Okay. What
Let me guess, it's white
what is
people.
the biggest reason, what is the biggest contributor to white familial wealth?
biggest contributor to white familial wealth?
Yep.
I mean, that doesn't even make sense. I don't understand the question. What's the biggest contributor to wealth? They worked hard
No.
and they made money and they passed it down. Yes.
Incorrect, actually.
Incorrect, really. Oh yeah, money just falls into white people's pockets out of the sky.
Property.
That's
it's
how we
property
get so
ownership,
rich, bro. Yeah.
It's property ownership. I don't know if you know
Yes.
that. It's property ownership. Property ownership is the biggest contributor to wealth in this country. It's not.
And then
let's
we're going to go back
Hold
to
on, stop.
redlining.
It's not. Let's go with that. It's not. Let's go with that. This is the fact.
Can we
These
talk
are
about
facts.
any policies like
if
in
you
modern
disagree,
day that are
if you
racist?
disagree, so Lee, if you're going to go, there must be a policy. Then you didn't listen to anything I said at the beginning of this call. So what's the point of debating somebody who refuses to listen to the actual things that their opponent is saying?
Well, yeah. You say disparities, but you give no reason for disparities.
I'm currently giving a reason for disparities,
like,
and instead of listening,
systemic racism,
Lee, I'm quite literally
policy
at the moment giving you reasons for the disparity. So that's a dumb thing for you to say.
Yeah, because you guys don't have as much money. You're going to cry about it.
And now we're going to look at the reasons for why. Lee, do you not understand that when we look at a systemic issue, we need to look at the reasons why? Do you not like looking at the reasons why?
I know the reasons why. We all know the reasons why.
What are the reasons why, Lee?
Because black people tend not to take education seriously.
We know that's not the case.
They tend not to. Absolutely.
Do you have any evidence? Surely. What's the evidence that black people don't take education seriously?
The evidence is my eyes.
Okay, so that's stupid.
It's
so try again.
Sense.
That's dumb. Try again.
I mean, it's common sense, dude. We all know
that's dumb. Try again.
What do you?
I asked for evidence. I didn't ask for what Lee believes. You quite literally, Lee, fun fact, Lee, what you just said was, I feel this way. I have some feelings that this is the case. I don't give a shit about your feelings, Lee. Feelings don't mean shit to me.
It's not
Give
feelings.
me the evidence that is feelings. When you go, I see this,
it's a fact.
And I know this based on common sense, that is a feelings-based argument.
Absolutely.
That's feelings.
Absolutely.
I don't care about your feelings, Lee.
You guys don't work as hard.
Lee, I don't give a shit about your feelings.
Education.
Okay, here's what we're going to do, Lee. Here's what we're going to do. Lee is muted. The next thing I want to come out of Lee's mouth, if Lee would like to continue this conversation, is to provide me with some type of evidence to suggest that black people do not care about their education. If I'm not provided by that evidence, Lee will just get muted again. So Lee, I'm going to unmute you. The only thing I want to hear out of your mouth is the evidence, and evidence, fun fact, isn't anecdotal. I don't want to hear, I think so it must be true. That would be dumb, and I assume you're not dumb, Lee, but maybe I'm assuming too much out of you. So I'm going to ask again, what is the evidence that black people don't care about their education? Go.
Look up the rates of tardiness, absenteeism in school for blacks versus whites. You'll see it right there. There's your evidence.
Lee,
just look it up.
Lee, does tardiness increase in schools that are underfunded compared to schools that are overfunded?
So now you're just like going back to the problem, saying, "Oh, it's this because of that."
Lee, I hate to tell you, causation does not equal.
You keep trying to blame outside things.
Correlation does not equal causation. No, a correlation does not equal a causation. So there is a correlation here between tardiness, and when we look at that, we also see that there are some correlation. Well, you're claiming, I haven't looked it up yet. You're claiming that there is
You know it's true. You don't even have to look it up.
Okay, well, I was talking again, so Lee's muted again. So when we look at correlations, right, they are not causations. So there is a correlating, according to Lee, piece of evidence that, well, when we look, black people have a higher rates of tardiness. But we also see that correlation in poverty, that schools that are underfunded and in impoverished areas, whether black, white, or whatever, also have an increase in tardiness. So this would suggest to me that it's not a race thing. It's a thing to do with poverty. Now, maybe Lee is incapable of putting those two logical things together. It wouldn't surprise me, but let's see if he is. Lee, how do you account for, if you remove race from the equation, you still see the tardiness among impoverished groups?
So if you looked at impoverished whites versus impoverished blacks will have a higher rate of tardiness.
Lee,
So it is a race thing.
I think understandings slip through your brain, and that's not your
Well, you
fault.
just don't want to
It
accept
sort of happens when your brother and mother are the same person. Like, I get it.
Yeah,
It slips
you
through your
almost got.
brains a little bit. I don't care. When we account for if differences in impoverished areas, the rates even out. Now, you're claiming the rates don't even out, and you actually see a bigger increase. I'm going to disagree with this unless you can provide some sort of evidence for your claim. And look it up is not evidence, Lee.
I don't know what you want me to do. You want me to look it up and send it to you when you have a computer right in front of
Lee.
your
I want
face?
evidence. Yes, I'm not going to go.
And
I'm not going to
we
do
both
a.
know it's
I'm
true.
not going to do. Okay, great. I'm not going to do a needle in a haystack here. If you're going to make a claim, provide evidence for that claim. That's all I want. Evidence for your claim.
We both know it's true. If you don't want to believe reality, that's your
Great. Whether I believe something, it doesn't mean shit. You're making a claim. Provide evidence for that claim. Otherwise, you're arguing off of feelings. I don't argue off of feelings. It's not something I do. If you argue off of feelings, I mean, get it.
It's a fact. Just because you.
Holy shit, Lee. I don't know that Lee realizes, but I'm going to keep muting him until what comes out of his mouth is evidence. I don't want to hear, I believe it, right? I believe the sky is purple doesn't make it true. So where's the evidence, Lee?
So what is your evidence of systemic racism? You have none. It's just your feeling.
I was quite literally answering you on the evidence of systemic racism, and you cut me off to talk about this. So you can lick taint about what's my evidence. You can lick absolute taint because you cut me off to move the topic here. Because as I was telling you the evidence and explaining where that evidence lines up and how that evidence works based on actual data, you got all up in your feelings and wanted to change. So we can go back to my evidence, would love to talk about it. But right now, all I'm hearing from you is chatter, chatter, chatter when I want evidence, evidence, evidence.
So you want me to look up a study and send it to you? I'm not going to do that because we both know it's true.
Well, no, you're not going to do it because you can't. You're not going to do it because you can't.
Because I can't? So you're saying blacks have lower tardiness than whites?
Nope, stupid. I'm saying that when we account. Okay, Lee, I'm going to assume that you have a processing issue. So when I say something, your brain just cannot take it in while you're also thinking about how badly you want to marry your cousin. So let me explain to you what I was saying. Let me explain to you what I was saying, and then maybe it will sink into your head. What I was saying is when we look at rates of tardiness and we adjust for poverty levels, we see those rates even out between the racial groups. And the reason we see this is because tardiness can be directly tied into school settings, whether that school is funded properly, whether that school is meeting the needs of students. This would be an overlying thing. Now, you, Lee, are doing a correlation fallacy where you believe because two data sets are correlated, that means one data set causes the other. I don't make correlation issues because I know how statistics work. So my question again is, Lee, provide evidence.
Your entire argument is correlation.
My entire argument is not correlation. You don't know what my entire argument is, Lee, because you interrupted me every time I tried to give it.
That is your entire worldview.
You don't know what my
worldview is based on a correlation that you want to attribute to this.
Nope, it's based on direct causation. That doesn't exist. It's based on direct causation. The reason why black people live in impoverished neighborhoods is because there were direct policies and laws that forced them into impoverished neighborhoods. And we've only cycled through maybe one generation of people since then. And you expect since one generation of people for all of these black people that were shoveled into these neighborhoods through actual policy to just all of a sudden be able to now amass the wealth that's needed to have purchasing power in the country? That would be stupid. It's not a correlation, Lee, unfortunately. Great. Now, Lee, you are engaging in what's called survivorship bias.
The president of the United
Now you are engaging in what's called survivorship
They do
bias,
it all the time.
which is you're
What are you
engaging
talking
in
about, dude?
survivorship bias, which is because some people are able to break out of this, it means everyone should be able to break out of this. This is stupid. This is like saying because one
Well, I'm not-
person survived in a war, everyone
I
should
don't
be
think
able
you
to
just
survive in a war.
handed money.
That's dumb.
So black people should just be handed money.
Did I make a
Is that
claim
what you
that black
want?
people should just be
Is
given
that-
money? Do you see a point on my board that says give reparations? I don't see that point. Do you see that point, chat? I must be missing something.
Now,
I didn't say that
well, not
reparations
everybody
was
can
the
do
goal.
that. Yeah.
I didn't say reparations was the
Obviously not
goal.
can do that.
So
White
that's
people
kind of
can't
crazy.
do that. You actually got to work to get money,
Kind of
dude.
insane.
You don't just assume.
Okay, great. We're muting him again because he apparently can't fucking listen. What would help these disparities is focusing on the systemic issues, sort of like fixing how schools are funded. So schools are not funded through property tax and instead get a flat tax per student so that students who are poor and impoverished don't have to deal with underfunded schools. Because one of the things that underfunding in schools does is it makes it so schools have a limited availability for before and after childcare. And here's the beauty. One of the things we know that literally leads to a positive increase in school school outcomes is before and after school care. So when you have a group of children that go to a school that has less before and after school care, they're going to have more negative educational outcomes than a school with proper before and after school care. This is how these things work. It's a nuanced conversation, not just black people piss me off, so I don't like them, so they can't do any blah, blah, blah. It's stupidly. And you're engaging in stupidity, and I really hope you do better about it, but you're not going to do better about it here, so suck dick. You know what? Don't suck dick. That'd be too good for you. Dick is too nice for you. Hey guys, thanks for watching this video. Please consider liking and subscribing for your daily dose of debates. I post new videos daily, so make sure to hit that notification button so you know when a new one drops. Also, shout out to my YouTube members. Membership starts at $2.99 and helps me to continue making content for all of you. Also, shout out to my Tier 4 members, Gib5500, Ovaltine, Sylvia Snow, Bamji, Kelsey K, Kelsey Dooley, Jake Gorshender, Marceline, Matthew Holloway, Kazim, Vampy, and Yemye. Thank you, members, for your support.